Tim, can you make it larger, please? It's hard to see on our screen up here. All right, if you can move it so we're looking primarily at the red columns, Tim. There you go. Okay, so now this first screen Tim's showing is from December the 9th. You can see that on that date we had 100 students out, 94 quarantined, and 6 were positive. Tim, can you move it down just a little bit? Going down to this, where we can see the number of staff that were absent or out. We had 26 staff out with 19 quarantined and 7 positive. Tim, can you pull up January 25th information? You see that on the I can't see the date, Tim. Is that January 25th?
It's the 25th, yes.
Okay, there you go. All right, now the day, move it just a little bit so I can see the totals, Tim, please. There you go. Today we have 158 students who are out due to quarantine or positive tests. 21 students are actively positive and out of school under quarantine. 137 students are out due to exposure or symptoms. Let's look at staff, Tim, if you can. Please.
It's up for us, first of all.
Oh, is it?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. It's not on the screen yet. Can you see how many staff are? Can you report that, Mr. Chairman, please?
Yeah, we're showing the current members on staff. Total staff number is 22. 14 are out due to quarantine, and the actual number of positives for the staff is 8.
And if y'all noticed on Friday when we updated the dashboard, it's changed significantly since Friday, and we see that daily. One of the concerns that we have with the current numbers is the number of staff who are out due to quarantine or actively positive at both Macon Middle School and MBI. Those schools are struggling to find subs. And the other issue is that they are at a point now where we're pretty confident that we have the number of folks that we need to cover the subs tomorrow. But if one of those teachers wakes up in the morning with symptoms or learns that they've been exposed to someone and cannot show up for work, then we may not be able to adequately supervise the students who are actually on campus in the morning. So it's a very concerning time for us. It's something that Mr. Maslin, Ms. Breedlove, and I are communicating with regularly. They do feel like they've got those students covered tomorrow, but we've reached a point with Macon Middle School and MVI that it's something that we're very concerned about. A couple of more staff that show up having been exposed or actually have symptoms, and we may be in a tough spot at those 2 schools. Now, that's based on the number of staff and who are currently quarantined or who have tested positive for COVID-19. At any moment, we may learn that Cartooka has had a number of quarantines or exposures or staff who've actually tested positive, and we may be in the same situation at one of the other schools like Cartooka or East Franklin or South Macon. So, it's a day-to-day concern for all of our school administrators. It's a day-to-day concern for me. I know it's a day-to-day concern for you. Just something to keep in mind. Now, with that in mind, one of the things that's obviously big on my mind, and I know that it's a concern to many of our staff throughout the school system, and that's That's when our school staff going to be vaccinated for COVID-19. This board has prioritized in-person instruction. We've been fortunate in Macon County that the whole system has not had to shut down and go to virtual instruction in school year 2021 for any length of time. We've had to close a number of schools briefly to get quarantines under control or to control outbreaks, but it's not been a school system-wide closure or reversion to virtual instruction. And Macon County is one of the school systems that is currently offering in-person instruction for our students. The majority of students in North Carolina are currently attending school virtually. Now, what we've seen during school year 2021, the two main roadblocks to in-person instruction for us have been the mandated protocols with regard to social distancing. If those mandated social distancing protocols weren't in place, all of our schools would be open at least to the extent that our K-4 schools are. 4 days of instruction per week. We still have to provide that virtual instruction for those students who have chosen to attend school virtually, and we would still have to serve those students in some manner. That would be very difficult if we were in school 5 days per week. Then obviously the other main roadblock has been the quarantines of our staff due to exposure to folks who are actively positive for COVID-19, and also for those staff members who have actually tested positive for COVID-19 this school year. So the bottom line is, the sooner that we can get our school staff, and that's bus drivers, custodians, cafeteria ladies, cafeteria personnel, the sooner we can get all of our school staff vaccinated, the sooner we can return to full-time in-person instruction in our school system for all of our students. Now, I've spoken with Ms. McGaha, the county's health director, regarding vaccination of school staff. We began having these discussions in earnest around Christmas, around the semester break. At that time, Ms. McGaha was pretty confident that we could expect school staff to be vaccinated by the end of January. Now, since that time, the CDC has changed their vaccination phasing protocols to include individuals over the age of 65 or older in phase 1B group 1. What that effectively did was shift the phasing plan for teachers down the protocol. School staff are in phase 1B group 2, and with those folks 65 and older being shifted to phase 1B group 1, that means it's going to take longer for school staff to become vaccinated. Now, Ms. McGaha has also indicated to me that there is some problems with the way that the vaccines are being rolled out from the state, and that she is at the point now to where she cannot give me a timeline for when our school staff will actually be vaccinated. She did indicate that we should contact our state legislators, and I was able to actually speak with Representative Carter Gillespie and Senator Kevin Corbin today by phone, and I know both of those gentlemen are working, doing the best that they can to see that our county and our region receive additional vaccines, but they did indicate that the vaccine rollout is being handled by the governor's office through the North Carolina Department of Health and Human Services. Now, I did also reach out to the governor's office today and was able to leave a message, and if and when I get information in the form of a response, I'll certainly share that with the board at that time. But I'm concerned that at this point there doesn't seem to be a plan for vaccinating teachers, at least in Macon County. I know that there were some questions about a vaccination program that occurred in Jackson County on Friday for educational staff. As a matter of fact, some of our educators here in Macon County have actually been vaccinated in Jackson County. You know, that, I had a conversation with the guy about that. My understanding is that they followed a protocol that Macon County has been told that they cannot follow. So we're trying to work through that, but until there is some priority placed on the vaccination for school staff, we're going to face potential school closures, or at least students being unable to attend school in person and required to attend virtually. That is something that I know this board wants to avoid, and I'm certain that the community wants to avoid based on the feedback that I received from them when we do need to go virtually. So I would just ask that a priority be placed on the vaccination of our school staff so that we can remain in person for the majority of our students.
I will pass on to the board. I know Dr. Baldwin's efforts. He's in constant contact with the health department. And I know that, and he has discussed, and we want to reassure all of our teachers and all of the people within our educational system, we have prioritized and made it very plain to the health department that whatever they need from us, be it in the form of facilities, be it in the form of sites, be it in the form of even personnel, that we would do everything in our power to expedite that. But it's just a matter of getting the vaccines in. So I hope the message, hope that our educators and all the people, I keep saying, I hope everyone in our system understands our priority is to do exactly what Dr. Baldwin said. And anything we can do to expedite that, we are exploring those avenues, and we promise that's exactly what we're going to do.
I'd certainly like to just offer my appreciation to County Manager Rowland, Kathy McGaha, the Health Director, and also Representative Gillespie and Senator Corbin. They promptly returned my calls and offered any information that they had available at that time.
Board members?
Hey, look, I wasn't going to say anything, but I'm going to preach a minute. I'm the oldest sucker in here. I got a shot a week or so ago. I would give my shot to a teacher, but what are we doing? The teachers have got to educate these children. And the thing is, if you look at statistics, and I have plenty of time to sit around and watch news here and there, day in and day out, you don't believe most of it, but some of it probably do. All over this country, these kids are failing. I'm glad to see that we graduated as many as we did. Did they graduate with a A, B, C? They graduated. I don't know these others. These kids are suicidal, a lot of them. Talk to other people in other states. I've got cousins scattered around, one on the school board in Arizona. These different places are worse than us, but still, we need to get these kids back in school. And it started out last year, teachers were sort of top of the list, and I think they should be. But now we keep dropping them down and farther, and they look at the state next to us, the county next to us. Some of them even saying, you know, hey, maybe we ought to go with iron work. It's hard to get people right now. So it's a scary time, and if we don't do something, we can preach all we want, all we can do is preach. But the ones above us have got to do something. They've got to come up with a solution to this, get our kids back in school, and the sooner the better. That's my preaching.
Well, thank you, Mr. Cave. And now, any other board members? I'll end by saying that I promise that Dr. Baldwin has done everything in his power to pass on.
I believe that wholeheartedly.
A number of fact to the powers that just simply tell us what you need, and if they'll help get vaccinations for our educators and our school system, we will do it. So hopefully they will do that, and we can, as you said, Tom, we can get that done and get kids back in class.
And we'll continue to advocate for these vaccinations for our school staff, because without these vaccinations, we're going to face continued brief closures due to outbreaks or COVID-19.
Coming events, Dr. Baldwin.
In your packet, Mr. Chairman, I think the only thing that we've got coming up is our next regularly scheduled board meeting on February 22nd.
Good deal. Next on our agenda is our moving to closed session. I will turn to our attorney,